Before we left off earlier, good afternoon, members. Before we left off under our order of business under our agenda on old business. But one of our members is requesting if we can go back to public comments if there's no objection. Okay, so we're now under public comments, back under public comments, and I'd like to reopen the podium for any comments from the public. Please state your name for the record. Acting Director, sorry, thank you.
Sorry about that. I'm Matt Brown. I'm the acting director of courts from the NMI Judiciary on behalf of the Chief Justice Castro and presiding Judge Naraha. In addition to the public comments before lunch, the court would also like to make a short comment on House Bill 24-39. In a letter submitted to Committee Chair Joel Camacho on July 23rd, we fully support the passage of House Bill 24-39 to establish treatment program enforcement officers within the judiciary. Enforcement and supervision of participants are essential components of a successful treatment court program. These officers supervise participants, conduct home and work visits, perform drug testing, monitor compliance, and make arrests as necessary, delivering rehabilitative justice, preserving public safety, and maintaining officer accountability. And for these reasons, we support the passage of House Bill 24-39.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. The podium is still open. Seeing that there is none, we will now proceed under our order of business. Under item 4, old business, we have House Bill 24-22 to repeal and reenact the Justice Center Fund revolving account. Discussion. Recognize the author, Madam Floor Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. And I know that we've got members of the judiciary here advocating for their non-support of House Bill 2422. I think this has been a discussion since the 23rd legislature, and there is reason that I continue to support the passage of this bill. However, one of the biggest things in the facts and findings was that DPS has been also suffering from the lack of supports and governmental funding and appropriation. And while the discussion has always been for the judiciary to raise their fines because there are systems already in place to distribute these fines accordingly, for DPW, DPS, and what have you. Now, if you take a look at Title 9's Division 7, subsection 7104, reckless driving, we know that those are fines that the courts can collect. Now, once again, the last budget hearing we asked, or this budget hearing we asked the presiding judge, did he have any interest or will he be working to lift these fees? And while the answer was not very sure what he was going to do, there has been discussion since 2017 of proposing to lift these fees that they impose at the court. And because of that, there has been new communication, well, not new communication, but communication that I think would be beneficial in improving this bill. And since the judiciary has claimed that they are in discussion, or they've had some discussion with the executive branch, I would also like to discuss with the executive branch what was spoken about. But I do think that at some point the court needs to raise their fines, because $25 for reckless driving does not seem adequate when you're talking about that particular code. So if there's no objection, I would like to see this piece of legislation tabled again while I continue my discussion with the executive branch and the judiciary. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Floor Leader. And there is a motion to table House Bill 24-22. Any second? And it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion to table House Bill 24-22, please say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-22 is hereby tabled. Next, under our order of business, we have item B, House Bill 24-28, to establish a grand jury system in the Commonwealth for the use of criminal investigations and prosecutions, and to provide for related powers and procedures. I'd like to recognize the author of this legislation, Madam Floor Leader, if you'd like to give the members some feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. And again, this is, there has been some consistency with a lot of the legislation that I'm trying to pass. Fairness, but also to fight crime against criminal investigations and allow these systems to do their work, provide them the tools that they need. And while we know that the judiciary has recused themselves on many cases that aim to pursue such allegations, we know that there's a recusal process that they are entitled to use within their co-equal branch. And while I know that this bill provides another avenue to improve our grand jury or our jury system here, I think it's fair also to note that the AG, actually, Chairman, before I continue, may I ask a question? Did the AG provide you comments in regard to this particular legislation?
Yes, no, we
And
just
what
received a hard copy earlier.
Okay. Are you at liberty to share that?
Yes, does all the members have a copy of the Attorney General's comment?
No.
Let me go into short recess so we can make copies for the members.
Thank you.
Okay, short recess. Copies of the AG's comments regarding House Bill 24-28. Our author requested if we can just move along with the agenda and we can touch back on that. Okay, so under our next order of business, we have item C, House Bill 24-37, to suspend the operations of the Commonwealth Casino Commission to transfer casino regulatory functions to the Commonwealth Lottery Commission on an ad-interim basis to establish a division of gaming within the Department of Finance and for other purposes. Discussion, members, and just to note that the EO, and I apologize for that again, members, like I mentioned during our session, and in no way that was meant to circumvent the process for the voting in the House. But we have before us House Bill 24-37, which can possibly address that because the EO currently stands. So I'd like to maybe open the floor for further discussion. Recognize Representative John Postema.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And my first question would be, did we receive any comments from any agencies with regards to this proposed legislation?
I believe we did reach out to several agencies, Attorney General's office, the Casino Commission. I don't have any comments on me right now. I don't know if any members may have gotten. Madam Chair, this is your legislation. Do you have?
Yeah, I understand that this is my legislation. However, I guess for me, it's the dates. This was introduced, it was dated July 10 for legal sufficiency. It's now August. There was a letter on July 29 provided by what was the commission. I think my biggest thing, Chairman, is that there's a section there on the description to establish a division of gaming within the Department of Finance. And because of that, I'd like to see and gather more comments from the Secretary of Finance, see how she feels about this bill. And then also, I know that the EO is active. I guess maybe should I just suspend this bill and introduce a bill with a simplified language to establish a division of gaming within the Department of Finance and for other purposes? Would that be best to handle this since the EO is already in existence? So should I just rescind this piece
Yes.
of legislation and then introduce another
Yes.
legislation to just?
I was going to recommend, Madam
Okay.
Floor, that maybe instead of tabling this bill, that we just vote to file it, and therefore you can reintroduce a whole entire legislation, without having to go through the issues with the one before us today. So if that's what you like, we can maybe vote to have
you
a
know-
committee report to file.
And again, right, actually, I yield my time to
Recognize Jumpo.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and to the author, the floor leader. I don't have any objection with making that motion to file, but just so that the new creation of something similar to addressing the EO, that we address the concern that I have with this piece of legislation on page 6 on item D, that we make sure that we clarify that language, that the Secretary of Finance in coordination with the Lottery Commission. I think we need to address that because the Secretary of Finance is one of the members of the Lottery Commission already as established by the EO, and then to have her also coordinate herself and make herself be the one to make the decision, I find it conflicting, and that when they're drafting the new a similar bill, that is addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Jumpo Sablan. Recognize Madam Floor Leader.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan, for your comments. And yes, I will make sure that on page 6, line 7, section D, is addressed should there be any further legislation in regard to House Bill 2437.
The floor is still open. Recognize Rep. Sablan. Yes, if you would like. But the floor is still open if members would still like to make a comment. Okay. Recognize Representative Sablan.
Thank you. So if no further discussion, Mr. Chairman, I then, with the understanding with the author, that I make that move, that we file and that we formulate a committee report addressing the full House body that the committee has decided to file this piece of legislation. So move.
There is a motion to file House Bill 24-37, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-37 is hereby filed. Next on our order of business, we have Senate Bill 24-11, Senate Draft 1, to regulate off-road vehicles including ATVs, SXS, and UTVs, and for other purposes. Discussion. Recognize Representative Angelo Camacho.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Have we received any proposed amendments from the Senate side? I know we tabled this the last time because we had some concerns about applying it here on Saipan, to be exact, and just wondering if you met with the author of the bill from the Senate to see if you want to possibly introduce this at a local level.
My apologies, Representative Camacho. I actually have not met with the Senate regarding this, but your point is duly noted. what we can do is we can table this again if the members would like, and I can reach out to the Senate for the next committee meeting so we can get some feedback on their end. Recognize Representative Saban.
I have no objection on that, Chair, with the recommendation of Rep. Angelo, but if you do meet with the author and he insists that we move forward, then we can also exclude the third senatorial district in this Commonwealth piece of proposed legislation. And if the first and second one have their ATVs run on their highways, that's up to them. But I think it's unsafe for the third senatorial district to allow ATVs in our highways. Thank you.
Duly noted, Rep. Sablan. Rep. Angelo, you still have the floor.
You, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so with that understanding, I will reach out to the respective author in the Senate regarding this and see if they're amenable to. Anyways, whatever they recommend would be on our end to make the amendments, and it would go back to them. So, just to make that note. All right, is there a motion to table?
So move.
There's a motion to table Senate Bill 24-11, Senate Draft 1, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 24-11 is hereby, Senate Draft 1 is hereby tabled, and I will be meeting the author regarding the concerns brought up by the members. Next, under order of business, we have, under old business, we have Senate Bill 24-13, Senate Draft 1, to enact a whistleblower protection provision for Commonwealth government and autonomous agency employees reporting on prohibited personnel practices, to provide whistleblower rewards for individuals who report underpayment of taxes, to clarify the mechanism for the payment of rewards for disclosures leading to the recovery of public funds, and for other purposes. Discussion. Recognize Representative Saban.
Thank you, Chair, and I ask for forgiveness for my ignorance, but I haven't seen any provision on where this source of funding will be taken for these rewards on this proposed legislation, and maybe perhaps we can ask our legal counsel, did he find that in any of the provisions here? Just so that we understand where is this source of funding coming from to reward whistleblowers as proposed by this legislation. Thank you.
Counsel. Short recess. We are back from recess, and we were discussing Senate Bill 24-13 and Senate Draft 1 before we got into recess. Members, we're still under discussion. Recognize
Thank you,
Senator
Mr. Chairman. I think under recess, we have agreed that to allow you, Chairman, to reach out to the author as you do the same to the previous Senate Bill 24-11 with regards to the off-road vehicles, including ATVs, and that you have that opportunity to have the open discussion with the author of the bill. So I guess the motion is to table for the moment, and that we allow you to have that make that meeting arrangement. So move.
Thank you, Representative Sablan. And I just want to note to the members that, like I mentioned, I will be calling an informal meeting next week, and I would like to have maybe some of the members, if they can be present, they can afford a little bit of their time so that we can discuss it together with the authors. And with that said, there is a motion to table Senate Bill 24-13, Senate Draft 1, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion to table, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 24-13 is Senate Draft 1 is hereby tabled. Next, under order of business, under item F, we have Senate Bill 24-28, Senate Draft 1, to amend 6 CMC subsection 3113 to establish disorderly conduct and public intoxication crimes and for other purposes. Discussion, members? Council, did you by chance take note on our actions from the last committee meeting regarding this? Short recess, members. We're back from recess, and we are still under discussion for Senate Bill 24-28, Senate Draft 1, and I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Chairman. I would really like to see this bill passed. I'm having some issues in my precinct as well on disorderly conduct. Today, we were at a official function, and there was evidence that there needs to be some systems and mechanisms in which law enforcement can actually conduct its job and remove a certain individual or individuals for that. But I've seen an increase in my 3rd Senatorial District. I move that the committee formulate its committee report for this passage. Thank you.
Recognize Vice Speaker.
Thank you,
And
Chairman.
before we proceed, just to let you know, Vice, that we have a motion before us. So we're in discussion of that motion to pass.
Oh, seconded already?
Oh, you seconded that.
Oh, okay. So
Recognize, so.
I do support this bill, and I think we should go ahead and move forward. There are instances where, we have DPS officers who really can't have no say in, these instances that we see. But anyways, there's a motion already, so I'll say less, and I second.
Thank you, Vice Speaker. There is a motion to adopt a committee report for the passage of Senate Bill 24-28, Senate Draft 1, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 24-28, Senate Draft 1 is hereby adopted for the passage of committee report on our next session. Thank you, members. And now we are moving under our next order of business under item V, or item 5, new business. Under new business, item A, we have House Bill 24-39 to establish treatment program enforcement officers within the judiciary to carry out enforcement, supervision, and monitoring functions essential to the success of court-supervised treatment programs, and to ensure that these officers are fully recognized as law enforcement personnel under Commonwealth law. The floor is now open for discussion. Okay. My apologies, members. We did take action. This is actually a typo. 39 has actually been reported out on from our last committee meeting, and we have routed a committee report for the passage in our next session. So my apologies. Please disregard. But we appreciate the comments that were received earlier. Thank you. Now, under our next order of business, we have House Bill 24-43 to create a new criminal offense for desecration or theft of memorials and historical sites. And I'd like to recognize the author, our Madam Chairwoman, Representative Julie Ogo.
Thank you, Chairman. If there's no objection, I would like to table this bill, awaiting a few comments from some agencies that reached out to my office for a copy of the bill. I've given them up to September 2nd to remit their comments. And if the members don't object, I would like to make that motion to table for now.
No objection.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Ogo. There is a motion to table House Bill 2443 pending comments, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of the motion to table say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-43 is hereby tabled. Next, under our order of business, we have House Bill 24-44 to amend 9 CMC subsection 8209 by removing the 7-day grace period for motorists who violate 9 CMC subsections 8203 and 8204, with the citation effective immediately and for other purposes. I'd like to Representative Flores, would you like to?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, basically this bill is regarding the insurance. Now what's happening now is whenever a motorist got pulled over and then they ask for their driver's license registration and insurance, and if the insurance is not present with them, they give them the citation, and then they have a grace period of 7 days to get an insurance, to renew it, and or have a copy present at the court. With this, there's certain times when a motor vehicle get into an accident, there is no insurance, and that's a problem if there's no insurance at the time of an accident. And for you to get an insurance after the accident, both of the parties that the victim is not covered. So having this bill it's making sure that the car has to be insured at all times where it's registered or driving out in the highway. So by removing this, the citation will be right there. When there's no insurance, we'll be giving a citation that amount, no grace period of 7 days. Thank you.
I recognize Madam Florida, then Rep. JP.
Thank you, and I think this is something that our rep has been trying to pass also. But out of curiosity, Rep. Flores, leased vehicles are insured. All government other vehicles are not insured. So in the event that a government issued, let's just say, for example, some agency like Secretary of Finance, they have a car, it's not leased, or some outright purchase vehicle, right? And they're not insured. So then what happens? They also get fined as well?
That is correct. So basically, there's a statute that's saying that government vehicles are exempt from the insurance. Mm-hmm. So, but for the auto motorists, they're not exempt to have insurance. So, in a government vehicle is different. This insurance basically for civilian vehicles that they have to be insured, not covering the government, because government there's no statute that's saying they have to be insured. So, whenever an accident comes, it falls back to the government vehicle or the government, the department to cover. If they're the one that caused the accident, they're covered personally.
Okay, so this will fall under the liability then of the government, right? Which is one of those bills that I'm hoping to pass, which is the government liability cap. So that
Yes.
would probably be included in this particular, my question, right, is because we have no government insurance, and if a park government insurance cars reversing from wherever and hits another car, and they're not insured, that whole process takes place, but we know now that the government vehicles are waived from this particular system or this waiver of this law, which I think is an injustice to begin with. But I guess that would be taken care of through the AG's office. I would assume that. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Recognize Rep. Sablan.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And question to the author of the proposed legislation, because we're just wanted to ask. So, the system right now, the mechanism right now, are you saying that there are instances for civilian motorists acquiring registration and absent insurance? Is that the case right now?
There's a case like that, but also there's times when the car is not insured. And with this statute, removing the 7 days, this statute, the previous statute is giving it opportunity to get an insurance. Because the fine is 250, so if they get an insurance prior to them being cited, they'll give them they'll discount, they'll reduce the price, the amount of $200 if they surface a valid insurance. But having this now, if there's no insurance, you're cited for that amount 250.
Right, right. Understood. That's your what you're proposing in this legislation. But I guess my question is, the system right now, you can get a renewed registration absent insurance. That's
That
the
is-
system right now.
That is correct, but there's times, for instance, that people nowadays, they get an insurance, they go to a motor vehicle, they renew their registration.
And they cancel
And then they
their
cancel their
their
insurance.
insurance.
Right.
So there are instances.
There's that. That's why with Disney, it's whenever it's canceled and then there's no insurance, it'll be cited right away. He's not gonna go back and say, "Can you reinstate my insurance?" Before grace of
So I
7 days.
think, so if there's an instances of that regard, then I think we need to beef up more legislation with regards to insurance, that you don't allow them to cancel if they already acquire the insurance. Because, and then again, it creates liability for motorists out there that are faithfully paying and acquiring insurance. So I think we ought to create other legislation that could put in check those insurances companies. Thank you for the clarification.
Recognize Floor Leader.
I also think that there's a level of injustice here, because if we're asking our community to abide by laws and then we turn around and we use all this federal money and all this other stuff that doesn't require the CNMI government to insure their outright purchase vehicles, I mean, I'm sorry. I think the system needs to be fixed. I think there's certain amendments in some codes that we need to address, because at the end of the day, the coffer is going to end up paying for the liability because we have government cars that are not insured. I don't know. I think I like the bill, but I would like to see the inclusion also of mandatory that government cars be insured, and the code amended to suit that. But that's, I guess, a two-subject matter, so I'm just going to go ahead and yield my time. But I would like to see that happen, at least amending the codes that government vehicles are mandatory. They have the insurance. Thank you.
Thank you, members. So what is the consensus? What is the motion? Yeah, this is a fairly simple piece of legislation, and okay, so if you guys are ready.
Thank you, Chair. I move that we move to pass, and that we formulate a committee report to the full body of the House for passage. So move.
Is there any second? There is a motion to adopt. There's hereby a motion to adopt a committee report for the passage of House Bill 24-44 in its current form, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-44 is hereby adopted to formulate a committee report for the passage of on our next session. Thank you, members. And moving forward on the next order of business, we have House Bill 24-47 to realign the authority and duties of the CNMI Department of Labor and for other purposes. Discussion on the floor.
Mr. Chairman,
Recognize Vice.
if there's no objection, could we dissolve into a committee of the whole to hear our Secretary of the Labor?
No objection.
All right,
you.
there's a motion to dissolve into a committee of the whole so that we can have our Secretary of Labor provide some information to the members. And it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye. All those opposed say nay. Thank you, members. We're hereby under committee of the whole. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Members, if you guys have any questions, we're now dissolved into committee of the whole, so please feel free to ask our recognized representatives of law.
Yeah, just one question to the Madam Secretary of Labor. So, Madam Secretary, with this proposed legislation before us, would this legislation, if enacted into law, better equip the Department of Labor in collecting data for the feds with regards to CW1 fees and for other matters with regards to the feds?
Thank you for allowing me to be part of this discussion. So this legislation would better enable the Department of Labor to do everything that we're supposed to do better, especially with respect to enforcement. Ever since the CNRA was passed and the NMI workforce was passed in the United States, the legislation that guided the regulations that tell the enforcement team what to do for their jobs has not been updated. The last time that those were updated was in 1701, or Public Law 1701, and they still reference a lot of immigration practices. So a lot of the enforcement actions that we have been needing to take have often been convoluted with some of these enforcement other extras. And so this would really help us with redefining what we enforce as a Department of Labor. And with respect to data collection, we are following what those original laws dictated to mandate that this department become fully electronic. I think that was since 2009, and that was something that we have been working on. And in allowing us to have revolving accounts, which are part of this bill as well, we will be able to fund those so that we will have our data protected and paid for in the systems that we have been creating. The revolving accounts that we've asked for can help us pay for operational expenses. I did bring my numbers if you want to ask questions about that. Thank you.
Thank you for that response and that clarification. I yield my time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Sablan. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Vice Speaker.
Thank you. Secretary, regarding revolving accounts, what fees collected do you currently, is there just no revolving account currently with the?
No, when the Department of Labor lost its immigration jurisdiction, there was a revolving account that was related to fees collected by immigration practices, but when that stopped, I'm not really sure where and what happened to that fund, but it has not been in operation since I've been in this seat. So the types of fees that we do collect currently, the certificate of good standing is our most, is the what we collect from the most administratively. This is a document that businesses usually will request for to be submitted with any federal or local construction project usually, but any contract that is being bid out, oftentimes that's a requirement by the agency that is trying to get bidders to submit. And so that is one area that we collect. Last year, we had $13,000 in fees collected from that one particular document. And that is on a low time. So I anticipate it could increase. We also collect from umbrella permits. Those, again, were obsolete after the CNRA. However, for immigration renewals, sometimes people ask us for a copy. So we have a very small fee. Last year, we collected $200. But again, those are small things that can add up. We also collect with respect to other fees from the Administrative Hearing Office. Last year, we collected about $25,000 in fees. And for the CW, the administration of the CW program, we collect about a 5 to 6% on average for the last 3 years. Last year was $61,000. And finally, with enforcement, the different penalties that have been collected from actually 2022, last year we did not have any collections, was about 40,000. So in totality, we've brought in about $140,000, which when we look at our operational costs, it actually evens just about right. We had an operation cost at about $137,000 for FY24. And that's where we're at. So we could be self-sustaining at the very minimum line. If there's any extra costs that come up, like if we have insurance for the cars, we will have to increase. But we could possibly be self-sustaining and not have to rely on the general fund if these accounts would be established.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Are you? For now.
Thank you, Vice. Thank you, Madam Secretary, for that response. Recognize Madam Floor Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Madam Secretary. I guess my only thing here is on page 28 that's really sticking out to me, and I fully support, are these subsections, Article 2, which is the adjudication of employment disputes. That's something that I've been advocating for since the 23rd legislature, and I see that there are, it's in here and compressed with what the aim and the goal of what you're trying to do. So I thank you for not forgetting about that. And our hope is that we can support the hearing officers fund come the budget deliberations. But I just wanted to comment on that. Thank you so much for being very descriptive and placing it out there on this bill so that if they have to go back to it, it's written right there. They don't have to go and search for a title somewhere, because God knows that process is quite confusing. Thank you so much. I yield my time, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Floor. Any other member? We're still under Committee of the Whole, so. Well, I just wanted to state, Madam Secretary, that I applaud you for getting this done. I highly recommend every other department do the same. You know, they need updating within their each branch of government or their department, that we work together this way, and we appreciate you being proactive and taking taking the steps to get where we're at today. And I do fully support this piece of legislation myself. And with that said, if there's no other from other members, then I can hereby excuse from Committee of the Whole. Madam Secretary, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, members, is there a motion to rise back into our plenary committee meeting? There is a motion to rise back into our plenary committee meeting, and it has been seconded. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So those opposed say nay. We are back into our committee meeting, and we're under discussion on House Bill 24-47 before we dissolved into Committee of the Whole. So the floor is still open in regards to taking action on this piece of legislation today. So, members, the floor is still open for discussion.
Clear? Ready?
A motion?
Chairman, I move that we pass this bill in its original form. The Secretary was here. I move that the committee complete its committee report for the passage of this bill. Thank you. For next.
Thank you, Madam Floor Leader. There is a motion to adopt the committee report for the passage of House Bill 24-47, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. The motion hereby carries. House Bill 24-47 is hereby adopted for our committee report for the passage on our next session. Thank you, members. And in our next order of business, we have House Bill 24-48 to adjust the 1992 salary cap of executive directors to a 2025 inflation equivalent amount. And members, before we proceed, this is a joint committee bill, and action has already been taken on the Ways and Means Committee. But since it falls before the JGO committee, I'd like to open this up for further discussion if the members would like. Recognize Representative Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and you are right that this piece of legislation was jointly referred to the Committee on Ways and Means and JGO, and I just wanted to let the viewing public know and the members of JGO that we have tabled this in the Committee of Ways and Means as there are a lot of concerns that have yet to be addressed. So some of the members of the Ways and Means are also members of the JGO, and I'm sure that they still share the same sentiment when we had our committee meeting. But I just wanted to update you, Mr. Chairman, on what are the actions made on the Committee on Ways and Means pertaining to the same piece of legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Sablan. The floor is still open for discussion. I know that, like you mentioned, it was already been deliberated on, but I'd like to still hear the members if they have anything that they want to discuss. If not, okay. There is a motion to table House Bill 24-48, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-48 is hereby tabled. Thank you, members. The next under our order of business, we have House Bill 24-49 to establish the CNMI Next Gen 911 telephone communication system within the CNMI and for other purposes. Discussion. Recognize Representative Sablan.
I believe if my memory serves me well today, that the author of the bill had on our last House session under miscellaneous submitted to the full House body communications solicited pertaining to this proposed legislation. So I guess my question would be, were you in liberty to have those communications from, I believe there are some from Fire of Guam and the Defense of the CNMI as well, and others. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that, Representative Sablan. I do recall that being mentioned, but I have not seen it before my office yet. Can we go on a short recess? Thank you. Thank you, members. We are back onto our plenary committee meeting, back from recess. And we have before us our Representative Malcolm Omar, who is the author of House Bill 24-49. And Rep. Omar, would you like to say a few words? Or?
Oh, again, colleagues, I guess this is a long time coming for our 911 upgrade for our system here in the Marianas. And this bill, again, covers all 3 islands and even the northern islands once they connect to the landline or the number. But with the letters of support upon introduction of this on the floor, I guess if you have any more questions, especially the letter from the Guam Next Gen office, because it's practically modeled after Guam, and we had some members of the fire department and the administration that was on a site visit that to Guam, and they saw that this is a workable thing, and I guess I had intentions to introduce this at the last legislature, but the issue was funding, and now there's resources that can be tapped for this this network, so that we can be linked up to the world, I guess. But yeah, any questions? I'm open for questions, and I just ask for your support for passage from committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Omar. Members, the floor is open for further discussion. And if you can see in the screen, we have the 2 support letters from Guam Fire and Defense, CNMI, so, and ARF, all in support of this legislation. So with that, recognize Representative Sablan.
Thank you. With all the letters of support before us supporting this piece of legislation, Mr. Chairman, I therefore make a motion that we formulate a committee report reporting to the full House body for the passage of House Bill 24-49. So move.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan. There's a motion to adopt a committee report for the passage of House Bill 24-49, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion hereby carries. House Bill 24-49 is hereby adopted to formulate a committee report for the passage in our next session. And next, under order of business, we have House Bill 24-52, an act to strengthen current domestic and family violence laws to ensure the protections of women and children, and to recognize and penalize digital and electronic harassment as acts of domestic and family violence and for other purposes. I'd like to recognize our floor leader, who is the author of this bill.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for placing this on today's agenda. However, if there's no objection, I'd like to ask that this piece of legislation be tabled as the office is collecting comments from pertinent agencies and nonprofits for their comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Floor Leader. I recognize Representative John Paul Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I don't have an objection on the motion offered by the mover and author of the proposed legislation before us. But also, if we are going to take action on our next committee meeting after all those collected comments that are being solicited, I also ask that because this piece of legislation was signed for introduction purposes only, and that we make sure that on the next committee that there's some sufficiency, legal sufficiency, before we bring this piece of legislation before the full body of the House. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan. Your point is noted. I recognize
Thank you,
Madam
Rep.
Floor Leader.
Sablan, and of course, I learned from you, so at the next meeting, I would hope that it would be of legal sufficiency so that we can take action on the proposed legislation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Floor. And with that said, members, is there specific agencies that you would like us to solicit comments to?
For the record, Chairman, I had asked that we solicit comments from PDO, AG, Domestic Violence, CARIDOT, Micronesian Legal Services, and any other agencies that deal with these types of cases. I would be also providing copies as they come to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. I have noted those particular agencies. Appreciate that. And there's a motion to table House Bill 24-52 to collect further comments, and it has been seconded. All those in favor to table, say aye. Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-52 is hereby tabled. Thank you, members. And our last item under our order of business, we have Judicial Branch Communication 24-04 regarding proposed NMI rules of judiciary disciplinary procedure. And I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Chairman. And just skimming through a lot of this strike-throughs, well, thank God that they had provided a strike-through so we know what's new and what's old, what they're taking out, and what's being amended. But the ones that really stick out to me is on page 2, Rule 1, General Provisions. And letter A says these rules are to be called the Northern Mariana Island Rules of Judicial Disciplinary Procedure and shall be cited as NMIR.JUD.DIS.P, quote. But what sticks out to me under this particular rule is letter D, suspension. For good cause, the Supreme Court may suspend any provision of these rules in a particular case and other proceeding as it directs. I mean, I don't know, but you can't make rules and then turn around and suspend a rule if you want to suspend a rule. I don't think that that language should be in there, and I'm looking at some other language that's inserted. I think that it's an unfair procedure, and I move to reject the proposed NMI rules of judicial disciplinary procedure. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Floor. Short recess. We're back into our plenary committee meeting, back from recess. And before we went off to recess, there was a standing motion for the rejection of Judicial Branch Communication 24-4. Madam Floor Leader, you still have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I move to reject the proposed NMI rules of judiciary disciplinary procedure as provided by the judiciary, because there's areas in their procedure that do not balance the scales of justice. Page 2, item D, which is very, very clear, for good cause. I don't know what that cause is, which we're not going to be privy to anyway. The Supreme Court may suspend, it's either they shall or will, because they are the superior Supreme Court, suspend any provision of these rules in a particular case and order proceeding as it directs. Now, there's other areas here that we can talk about, but my motion is move to reject just based on that, and then if they want, they can go ahead. All the strike-throughs are there. Move to reject NMI rules of judicial disciplinary procedure.
Any second? There is a motion to reject Judicial Branch Communication 24-04, and it has been seconded. Discussion. All those in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Judicial Branch Communication 24-04 is hereby rejected. Mr. Rebalaman, can you please furnish a committee report for that? Thank you. Recognize Madam Floor Leader.
Nothing. I was going to say that I forgot to include the formulation of the committee report, but thank you for doing that.
Thank you, members. That's it under our new business. And moving on to item 6 on our agenda, we have miscellaneous. Anything on miscellaneous? And moving down to item 7, adjournment. There's a motion to adjourn, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion, say aye. Those opposed, say nay. Thank you, members. We're hereby adjourned. Thank you.